Good evening and welcome to the third and final meeting this evening. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. We've included background music tonight for your pleasure. This time we'll convene the Common Council meeting for April the 1st. And in lieu of a roll call, I'll ask the Clerk Treasurer to ask for a roll call, please.
Dave, if you'd like to start.
Dave Mobley, City Council at Large.
Dave Harrison, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Anthony Davidson, District 3.
Ed Bell, District 2.
Mary Huser Stewart, District 1.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There are no special presentations this evening. No one has signed up to speak. So we'll move to reports, or excuse me, we'll do the reading of the minutes and approval. Council, the minutes of the previous meeting dated March 4th has been printed and is up for review. This time the floor is open for questions, comments, or changes.
Well, I'd like to have a change. I wasn't at the March 4th meeting, but it shows roll call that I was, and then I was absent after the fact.
Any other comments or questions from council members? With the exception of that change, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve, sir.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, the same sign. We'll move to reports from committees, boards, and commissions. First report is Greenscape Commission. Tim?
Good evening. Tim Latimer, Beech Grove Greenscape Commission. I don't have a lot to report tonight. We did meet on the 18th last month. Beth Berg reported that a recent update on the Main Street project indicates the number of total trees to be planted has been reduced from 218 to 124. And these changes were made, there were also changes made with species selection as well. The individual unit cost for trees increased, but the overall cost will be a little bit less. Also, Dave Miller told you this at the last meeting, we will be inspecting the city ash trees the 1st of May as soon as they are leafed out. As you know, we do have ash trees in all 4 of the parks as well as some street trees. So as soon as we're able to get out and look at the leaves and determine whether or not we have the emerald ash borer, we'll do that. We'll also inspect the trees in the roundabout, looking at the branches, making note of any abnormalities, cross branching, branches growing in weird positions, etc., and any branches that may interfere with passing traffic. We have received unofficial confirmation that our Tree City recertification has been processed, but we've not received the official paperwork yet. It seems like every year it gets later and later. I'm not sure why that is. A note here, per Beth Berg, please remember to get a permit from the city before planting a tree in the right-of-way. You can go to the Greenscape Commission link to get all the information you need. There's no cost for the permit. And last but not least, the Beech Grove Promoters Club will be picking up trash in the alleys of Main Street on Saturday, April 20th at 7:30 a.m. Meet at 4th and Main. And our next meeting will be Monday, April 15th at 6 o'clock at the Community Center. And that's all I have for you this evening. Do you have any questions for me?
It's good to see you. We missed you last month, but it was nice to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, I missed the last couple of them. Okay, thanks.
Read it all. Anyone? Joe, you want to give her a go?
All right.
Joe Griffin for the RDC. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. I thought somebody else was going to handle that. But we had our last meeting canceled because I guess I was the only healthy person, and they postponed it until Tuesday of that week. And we had it then. Got several things up in the air, nothing real solid. One of the things we're talking about is going ahead and reviewing the comprehensive redevelopment plan and getting input and getting public input, possibly getting some workshops going. Definitely need the council taking an active part in that. We need the public to take an active part. Please show up. Keep coming to those, especially on the comprehensive redevelopment planning, because it's not just us talking heads that do it. It's 14,000 people on here that have to have an input into it for a successful redevelopment plan to happen. We need as much input as possible from all over possible. Councilman, please show up. This coming up meeting, we have Jeff Peters and a special guest that's going to be showing up the third Thursday of the month to talk about TIF. So that'd be a good one for everybody to show up to. Jeff Peters is our financial advisor. That's always a good place to start with on how much money we have, and he's looking at bringing a special guest to also further look into that with it to help expand on that. So that'd be a good one for a public come to. Hopefully we can start debunking some of the stuff of he said, she said stuff. I mean, it's, you know, it can be counterproductive. We got to get everybody all on the same page on what is and what isn't.
What day is that again, Jeff?
Third Thursday of the month, RDC meeting. That's pretty much it for me. Any questions?
I met with the NPO people today about mass transit. They're going to be wanting to get on the agenda for both the council and the RDC, so that's going to be coming up within the next couple of months.
Okay. That'd be a good one. All right.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Public safety, chief.
Council members, Public Safety Committee met on the 27th of March. All the members of the committee was there. We had a discussion about 9th and Fletcher, that we understand that it's going to be closed for a week, and they said approximately 6 weeks before they start the work on it. And we believe that the construction company is going to send out notice to the police, fire, and to the school system and make notification to the city. The Little League Parade and Softball Parade is going to be on the 27th of April. It's going to leave from the Sarah Bolton Park. It was approved by the Board of Works earlier this afternoon. The route will be posted. I think Dan is going to post the routes on the city website. The police and fire and the street department and the parks department will be involved in the safety and putting up barricades for that. The Main Street construction, we talked about it, and it's going as planned. There's a walk for beautifying Beech Grove. The route has not been determined as far as I understand, but it's going to be on May 11th and leave at Sarah Bolton Park. Abandoned vehicles, the police department is in charge of that, and any citizen that has a complaint, please contact the police or leave an email with the city, and we will check that and see if they're in violation. And the abandoned vehicle ordinance is still under review. As far as I know, it's not been approved for the new one. So we've asked our officers to give warnings whenever possible and talk to the citizens and tell them what is expected. And that was it for the board meeting
I have a question, Chief. On May 11th, it's the Walk for Beech Grove.
I think it's called the Walk for Beautify Beech Grove.
Beautify Beech Grove. I didn't know if it was the one about premature births, stillborns, or something.
It's in the fall.
Yeah,
It's the
but-
fall, okay,
yeah.
all right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from council members? All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
There was no ABC activity report with Jim Brooks. The last report is financial. Dan?
Okay. I gave all the council members the bank accounts as of today. It's also online. One thing in doing a little research I came up with, and previously any employees in the clerk's office has always been approved through the Board of Works. Under IC 36-4-10-7, third-class cities, clerks, deputies, and employees. Under B, it says the clerk shall appoint the number of deputies and employees needed for the effective operation of the office with the approval of the city legislative body. And that is what I'm questioning, is the council is actually the legislative body, and previously we have not done that. So I think it's something that we probably need to do. I don't care which way it's done, but I just want to make sure I'm doing it proper. And I would say the way this reads, it really needs to go in front of the council. So I don't know if you want to do it with new employees from this point forward, or, you know, it's something that we don't have to decide this evening, I guess, but just in order to follow state law, I think it's
The
something.
last update was 2004,
Right.
so it's been like that since 2004. The legislative body is the city council, so we can proceed, and any employees that the clerk desires to hire for his office or sanitation would come through the city council. And he would have to make that determination on the number of employees that he would need to adequately run that office. Also, what's not in there, but also has come to light, is that the clerk also sets the salary for the people who work in his office and in Beech Grove Sewage Works office. So that's up to Dan. Then Dan would bring that to the council.
And that's something I have been doing since I've taken office. Anyone that was already at that salary, we kept at whatever salary they was at, but if it was a new hire or whatever, it could be different than what it was previously posted. But really, that's all I've got this evening. I was on vacation for a week, so just getting caught up with things, plus I have some new people in the office, so I will give you a better detailed financial report next time.
All right, thanks, Dan.
I'd like to get with you this week about that, and I'll
Okay.
talk further on it.
All right.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good to see everybody that's still here from spring break. Lots of places everybody's gone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors, audience. My name is Gary Lovelace. I'm the mayor's neighborhood liaison for that other part of town, the city of Indianapolis. Potholes, high weeds and grass. Did you know there's an application for your phone where you can get your Request Indy mobile, touch Request Indy mobile once you download it, and it'll look just like on the computer. If you've got your locator enabled, you know where they tell you you're so close and this is where you're at. You just click it, takes a picture of the pothole, knows exactly where it is, and that's it. It's a great application. It works wherever you're at. Now, if it's in the city here and you have to maintain it, that's a little different story, but you could be just down the road a little bit. High weeds and grass, too. Seriously, guys, do you know the standard for high weeds and grass when we will cut it? 12 inches. 12 inches. So, download your Request Indy app. It's a big deal because we're cutting back, we're short on budget. So we've had 3 empty spots. Fourth lady just resigned. She's a local Italian fire lady, so she's now at the firehouse. So I'm sure you fire people all know the family. So parking meters, we've changed parking meters. All the downtown things. In 2010 was the last time that we had full year of the old way. We did $339,000 of revenue for the year, which sounds like a lot of money. But we opted to change it. 2011, it went up $1 million. Last year, $2.5 million we brought in. 339,000, $2.5 million. And we didn't have to buy the parking meters. That's a big deal because they were getting old and needed a lot of maintenance. So the company came in and installed them. 2/3 of our revenue comes from those new functions. You can use the phone and extend it, or you can use a credit card. 2/3 of the revenue, which is most all the gain, came from just coming up to where we live. How many of you have a full pocket of change? Not many of us anymore. So that's just the way we live, and so we updated it to the way we live. A big event that's come up is Neighbor Power. I don't know if you've heard of Neighbor Power. It's a convention, a seminar, and what it is we have neighborhoods that are doing things right, and something's working. They put on a seminar within this seminar, and you can decide to go to that seminar or another seminar and say, hey, that's working for them. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. They're already doing that, and it works. So if there are things like that, it's a free event coming up on October the 12th. It will be at Marion University. UIndy Community Campus Forum coming up Monday, 4/22, this month, noon to 2 p.m., but be at Wheeler Arts Center in Fountain Square. And this is about networking and goal setting and getting with other organizations that are like-minded. And so, you guys do something here that works, they do something here. Well, we're looking to do that. Oh, we're looking to do that too. So it's kind of a collaboration thing. Wheeler Arts Center, Monday, 4/22. Indy Greenways Day is Wednesday, 11 to 2 at the City Market. Wednesday, if you're looking to Indy Greenways. And Mr. Fire Chief, April is 911 Education Month. You know that, I imagine, being in the fire business that you were. And so there are a lot of things going on in the fire world. There was a soldier from the South Side killed in Afghanistan. And we got the request from the state to hold his funeral in Perry Township. So we're working on that with the schools in Perry Township. He is a graduate of Southport. So if that comes about the way we think it is, it will be on Saturday. So keep your calendars open if that interests you. All right. Any issues that you need from us?
Gary?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to congratulate you guys on the Emerson Avenue from Shelbyville Road down to Southport Road. In saying that, I've had numerous complaints in my office about this 5-lane road. It's been redone, and it's 30 mile an hour, and it's a speed trap. Gray Road, you can go down it, it's 2-lane, not near the road, and it's 40 mile an hour. I know Emerson Avenue previously was 40, 45, depending on where you're at. What is the chances of that speed limit being raised?
Well, it will be raised once construction is finished. While we're in construction, it's got to go down about 10 miles an hour according to regulation.
I don't see them doing any construction. I guess that's my
I
problem.
understand, but it's like June or July before it's completely done, before it's done with the construction. So that's the best I can tell you right now.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's done to the bridge on Emerson, and
Yes.
from the bridge north to Southport, they got to do all that intersection.
Well, technically, they said April 1, which is today, they would start again. So, I mean, we're looking at them starting up immediately. So once you see all the construction equipment around, everybody will slow up. We got a screaming, a lot of complaints too, so I understand that. All right, anybody else?
Gary, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
The electric cars and Power and Light, can I get some information on the chargers, on the power packs for
The
the,
unit itself?
yes.
Okay, that's what we put in our garage. So it's your, okay. Will do, sir.
And my understanding, Power and Light was providing those.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to see some information on that if I could, please.
All right.
Are you talking about for the Priuses?
Yeah, for plug-in cars.
Really?
What they say is that because most cars are not driven more than 30 miles in a day, the range on these is about 40 miles on battery, and the backup is gas, so most days you're not using any gas. So they expect to be about 100 miles to the gallon of gas. Only makes sense. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to unfinished business, including introduction of ordinances and resolutions already introduced. First order of business, council, is you have a Board of Zoning appointment. And we have Mr. Thompson here this evening. He was nominated by Anthony Davidson. And I think, Ed, did you nominate Joe Haig?
Joe Haig, I had on the very first one.
I will turn it over, the proceedings over to the council president for a vote on the matter. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. We have two people up for nomination. I guess we'll vote first on, what was your name, sir?
Al Thompson?
Thompson. Okay, Mr. Thompson. All in favor of Mr. Thompson, say aye.
Aye. I think I'm sorry, I would like a individual roll call.
Oh, we can do it that way,
Okay, Dave has a question.
since go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to ask, do we know anything about, can we explain something about those people?
Okay, I thought maybe you had talk about
I don't
the
remember
last
if we
meeting.
did.
Could you talk, sir?
Well, my name's Al Thompson. I've been a Beech Grove resident for about 13 years. I have a 9-year-old son in Central Elementary currently. And I'd like to make a difference in the community, give something back.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll speak for Mr. Haig. Mr. Haig was on the committee and then was found out that he was put on by mistake. It was the council appointment rather than the mayor. Mr. Haig is a citizen of Beech Grove as well. He did work with me closely on the sewer works and so forth, along with two other citizens. He lives on 4th Street. He's a long-term resident. Okay. Dave?
Oh, I'll vote for Joe.
I'll vote for Joe.
I'll go for Joe as well.
Joe has 3 votes and Mr. Thompson has 2 votes. So we will advise Mr. Haig that he has been voted on to the BZA. Mr. Thompson, thank you very much
Yes,
for
thank you,
coming
sir.
over here and giving us your time this evening.
Thank you for your consideration.
And it was nice to meet you.
Thank you, sir.
General Ordinance Number 2, 2013 is up for third and final reading. At this time, I will defer to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety, please.
General Ordinance Number 2, 2013, an ordinance amending Section 72.23 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas citizens of Beech Grove are often given a company vehicle to use for their employment and...
Okay, all right.
Okay. Whereas some residents do not have a parking area in their alley and need to store their vehicles overnight, and whereas parking areas are set up for residents on some streets, and whereas Section 7223 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. The Code of Ordinances must be amended to provide for these matters set forth herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Section 77.23 of the Code of Ordinance be amended and hereinafter read as follows. A, commercial vehicles weighing more than 26,000 pounds shall not park within the residential or business district on public thoroughfares of this city except for the purpose of loading, unloading, or performing work. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 72, Section 72.23 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect immediately after passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Comments from council members before we vote?
Yes, I would like for amendment, or actually two, but I'll go for the first one. The 2,600 pounds or 26,000 pounds is pretty high. I just called my son, and he has a tractor trailer, and his Peterbilt tractor alone is about 22,000 pounds. 26,000, now, that's pretty high. So we're looking into having a semi possibility parking on the street in the, like, 10th Street where you couldn't really get around. I'd like to have that changed to about 7,200. I called around the different dealerships and found that the heaviest dually that I was able to find was a diesel Dodge, and it was a little over 7,200 pounds. So I would say that would be more than enough for the city streets to be able to have. And most residents would have that or less. The other exception, or should I do both, or we?
No, we'll do the amendments one at a time. So
Okay.
you want to change the ordinance from 26,000 pounds to 7,200 pounds.
That's correct.
Motion to amend general ordinance number 2.
I'm sorry, I would like to add to that. I got these, and you weren't here, Mr. Bell. I got these numbers from our chief, who had talked about it in the Public Safety Committee. Chief, you want to speak on this before we vote to this?
The size, the 26,000 pounds, came from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, is what their standard is. And I understand that's a pretty heavy vehicle. But also, if you have a semi-tractor trailer, the tractor part of it, it's listed as a commercial vehicle in the other part of the reading of the ordinance, I believe, that would restrict that vehicle from being parked there. I'm not sure of any private vehicle is that weight, but we tried to go what the Bureau of Motor Vehicles described as vehicles, and also to describe if it's a commercial vehicle and it's registered to a company, that also should be in the ordinance. That would restrict that vehicle from being parked on the street. It's, as far as weight, also restricts it, but how it's listed as a personal vehicle or company vehicle would also restrict that from being parked on the street.
Okay, now I have a question regarding that. So are you talking about the cab of a semi that you see going down 65, or?
Right, the front part of the hauling part is called a tractor.
Without the trailer?
Right.
And that's supposed to weigh how much, sir?
I'm not sure how much the tractor weighs, but I think total weight, how they're registered and their actual weight is more than 26,000 pounds.
Okay.
But I understand that the ordinance would probably cover a commercial vehicle parked there over a certain weight as far as a private vehicle parked there. But that's for you guys to decide. If you want a heavier vehicle, are not our lighter vehicle, but also listing as a commercial vehicle or company vehicle. Their registration or the name on the side of it that says a company.
I noticed, well, it was last year, no, a couple years ago, our church parking lot on the corner of Albany and 10th, we had a tractor sitting in our lot, and we finally found out the individual, but just the weight of it starts dipping into the asphalt when it's just sitting. So our streets, residential streets, don't really take that much weight, especially in the hot summers that we had. So that was one of the other reasons why that's a little heavy for our
I
streets.
think a semi-tractor will be too heavy and takes up too much of the road also.
Yeah, right.
One of the problems I got with this ordinance is if you specify a weight, which I guess may not hurt, but what if you got somebody with, there's 3/4 ton vans that are about 6,000 pounds. What if you have 2 or 3? I mean, I don't have a problem with one, but what about 2 or 3? I mean, doesn't that house then become a business and residential?
Well, that'd be on my next one.
Okay. Well, would there,
So, Mayor, this question may go to you or to the rest of the council. So, if we have a neighbor across the street that drives an over-the-road vehicle and drops its trailer on Elmwood or Emerson Avenue and then drives that big honker home across the street from me, I don't want to see that out there. But I don't mind a business van that I can see my neighbor's house still across, so I don't know how we...
You deal with it by weight.
Right.
If you, 26,000 pounds, I don't know how big a vehicle that is, compared to another normal working van. I don't know how big that is. Is that 1 ton? I don't know.
I don't know.
well, 1 ton's 2,000 pounds, but
Right.
a normal working van, if they're 3/4 ton, I looked it up, I mean, it's on our website, it's like could be anywhere from 5,600 to 7,000. That's a 3/4 ton van.
Another thing, Chief, is it not even apply if it's not marked?
If it's registered, that was my suggestion, that you restrict registered vehicles and vehicles that have company names on them and a poundage. I'm not sure if that's how the ordinance reads, but that would be one way that the police could enforce this and restrict how many company vehicles or the size of company vehicles that are parked on the street.
Edwin, do you have an amendment? Do you want to withdraw that amendment?
No, I'd like to continue with the 7,200.
There's an amendment on the floor to change 26,000 to 7,200. Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. And that passes 3-2. And Counselor, you said you had another amendment?
Yes, Mayor, I do. After A, I would like to add B. It would be only one commercial vehicle weighing less than 7,200 pounds shall be parked in front of a residence address. So that would be eliminating having 2 or 3 and just have one.
Okay, you're going to have to repeat that.
I would like to have it read as only one commercial vehicle weighing less than 7,200 pounds shall be able to be parked in front of a residence address.
I have a question for you with that. If I need a plumber at my house at 3 in the afternoon, and all of a sudden, the plumber needs help, so a second truck comes. That wouldn't work, would it? I wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, yeah, because it's not the owner of that address.
That's not how this reads.
Okay, well, we can say resident owner of that particular vehicle. To clarify that.
Well, and I doubt that that's going to be there over
Over
12 hours or
Overnight, it says.
24 hours, hopefully.
All right, Ed, one commercial vehicle less than 7,200 pounds shall be able to be parked what?
Okay, 7,200 pounds shall be parked in front of resident owner's address, owners of the vehicle's address.
Well, the person driving the truck is not the owner, it's the company. So that wouldn't work either. Also,
If it's a,
also you have to think of, I mean, I know a lot of my friends, they can't afford a house by themselves. So there's 2 or 3 sometimes in there. They all work. And so you're restricting them also.
2 or 3 what?
yeah, but it's not commercial vehicle.
You don't know that. You don't know that. I mean, they could have their work truck.
Okay, we should basically say with logo, commercial vehicle with logo. So that would help that individual.
I'm going to make a motion that we table this because there is way too many questions and we sound like a gaggle right now.
I'll second that motion.
Table it for another month, since this is last reading.
Dave, what would you like to do?
I'll go along with Anthony.
Dave Harrison?
I don't know, I don't see a problem. I don't know why we can't decide it tonight.
Okay. Ed?
I would say move forward.
Mary?
I would say move forward as well, because there's exceptions to every rule, but
We can move forward, but we're going to have more clarity on the Second Amendment, Ed.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it basically says right here, we're at the very top, residents parking in the alley and need to store their vehicles overnight. So it's not if somebody's out working on a house, it's not 10, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night. So, I mean, that's pretty clarified there. Now, if there's 2 or 3 Sorella plumbing vehicles out in front of somebody's house at 2 in the morning, that could be a problem.
and that's where my thoughts are lying there.
So I don't see as how it needs cleared up, other than the fact just to say if they have commercial markings on them and they're there, you know, from whatever time it was on here, midnight to 6 in the morning or whatever it was.
Was there a time on there? Midnight to 6?
I don't see it on this, but I thought it was.
It was in the last.
The original.
The original.
Ordinance, yes.
I mean, that's what I would be concerned with, not, because people are going to have somebody out to work at their house, and they could have 2 vehicles there, but not during the day. I mean, usually 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, you're pretty well covered.
So Ed,
The heat goes out in the middle of the night. That's weird. Not going to have anybody.
So let's go with only one commercial vehicle that has markings weighing less than 7,200 pounds shall park in front of owner's residence address.
there's an amendment on the floor. Is everybody clear on what the amendment is? I'll need a second.
I'll second that.
We'll go by single vote. All, Dave?
No.
Dave Harrison?
Yes.
Anthony?
Absolutely not.
Ed?
Yes.
3 to 2, the amendment passes. We'll go back up to General Ordinance Number 2, 2013 on third and final reading. Need a motion to approve with the amendments.
I will make said motion.
Second?
Second.
We'll poll individually. Dave?
No.
Dave Harrison?
Yes.
Anthony?
No, they pushed it.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it passes 3-2.
So pause. Wait.
General Orders number 3, 2013. Be up in a minute. General Orders number 3, 2013 is up for third and final reading. This time I'll defer to the clerk treasurer to read the ordinance in its entirety.
General ordinance number 3, 2013 is an ordinance adding section 96.10 to chapter 96 of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas citizens set out waste on public city property for collection from the sanitation department, and whereas often people go through waste when placed on public property causing waste to scatter over roads and alleys, and whereas thieves use the cover of picking trash to avoid suspicion, and whereas permits set in place would help identify pickers, and whereas the common council has determined waste collection should only be handled by the property owner the waste comes from, the sanitation department, and permit holders. Now therefore be it ordained by the common council of the city of Beech Grove, Indiana, that chapter 96, garbage and refuse collection, is hereby amended by the addition thereto of new section 96.10 and read as follows. It shall be unlawful for a person to take waste from a dumpster containing or bag when the container has been placed on public city-owned property without a permit other than the property owner and the Beech Grove Department of Sanitation. Waste may only be picked up from dawn until dusk. Permits obtained through the city hall must include a government-issued identification number and are good for a period of 1 year and cost of $5. A violation of this section shall be subject to a fine of not less than $50. Now therefore be it ordained that this ordinance only applies to the removal of trash listed above. Now therefore be it ordained that this ordinance goes into effect 30 days after approval of the common council, signed by the council president, attested by the clerk treasurer, and signed by the mayor.
Comments from council members? If not, ask for a motion to approve on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 4, 2013 is up for second reading. This time I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read General Ordinance number 4, 2013 by title only.
I'll make said motion, sir.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I'll have the clerk read it by title only.
Okay.
This ordinance was reissued. It had one spelling error on page 6.
Okay, General Ordinance number 4, 2013 is an ordinance providing for the operation of the Beech Grove Greenscape Commission and the preservation and maintenance of tree and flora species for the city of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas pursuant to resolution number 5, 2004, Common Council of the city of Beech Grove, the council has established the Beech Grove Greenscape Commission, and whereas the council adopted special ordinance number 8, 2005 with the intent and desire to establish specific duties and responsibilities for the commission and to also establish duties of property owners. and guidelines regarding the protection, removal, and maintenance of trees and flora in the city. Okay, including licensings and permit matters.
Thank you. Any comments on general ordinance number 4?
No, sir.
Now I'll ask for a motion to approve on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. This will carry over to the May meeting. General ordinance number 6, 2013 is up for second reading. And I'll ask that the clerk read the ordinance in its entirety, please. Dan?
Okay. General ordinance number 6, 2013 is ordinance that amends Article 15 of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, Personnel Manual concerning employees' driver's licenses. Whereas some employees are required to drive vehicles and operate equipment that is owned and maintained by the City of Beech Grove, and whereas the City of Beech Grove may not have knowledge of the employee's current status as it pertains to his or her driver's license, and whereas an employee's employment may be based upon his or her ability to drive or operate machinery, and whereas the City of Beech Grove may assume a risk should an employee be driving a vehicle or machinery on an expired or suspended driver's license. Therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that it desires to amend Article 15 of the City of Beech Grove's Personnel Manual pursuant to driver's licenses. Therefore, be it further ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that the following section be added to Article 15 of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana Personnel Manual. Section E, driver's license checks. Number 1, any employee who may have cause to drive vehicles owned and operated by the City of Beech Grove shall be subject to random driver's license checks. 2, employees who have a change in their driver's license status shall immediately report the change to their respective department head. 3, the police chief or his or her designee shall conduct a random driver's license checks. Therefore, be it ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Article 15 of the City of Beech Grove's Personnel Manual. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Comments or questions? If not, ask for a motion to approve general ordinance number... I'm sorry.
I'd like to have an amendment on it. I see where we're going with this, and I think it's a good idea. But adding a whereas, I guess, at the top, whereas the City of Beech Grove desires a drug-free environment. I'd like to have that added in there.
That would not be,
It's not pertinent.
yeah, that's leading up to the ordinance, Counselor, so
Okay.
that would not be part of the ordinance. So we'll strike that, Ed.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
Okay.
strike that.
We'll ask for a motion to approve general ordinance number 6, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. This will carry over to the May meeting. General ordinance number 7, 2013 is up for second reading tonight. This was amended on first reading. I'll defer to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety, please.
General ordinance number 7, 2013, and is an ordinance that amends Article 1, employee classification of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana Personnel Manual. Whereas from time to time, the City of Beech Grove has employment opportunities for citizens, and whereas citizens often fill out applications for an employment opportunity, and whereas the City of Beech Grove makes a decision on who should be given an employment opportunity, both full and part-time, and whereas the City of Beech Grove desires to employ good and decent people who will reflect positively on the community. Therefore be it ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana desires to amend Article 1, Employee Classification of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana's Personnel Manual. Be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove desires to amend Article 1 of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana's Personnel Manual to read as follows. At subsection 1, drug testing. 1, all applicants who the City of Beech Grove desires to employ shall be subject to be given a random drug test by a lab authorized by the City of Beech Grove. 2, results of the testing shall be delivered to the clerk treasurer for filing in the applicant's application file. The applicant shall be notified of the test results only if the applicant failed by the respective department head of the department they were being assigned to. 4, failure of a drug test shall immediately disqualify an applicant from employment. This also disqualifies the individual from applying for another position within the City of Beech Grove for a period of 2 years from the date the application was submitted. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove desires that Article 1 of the Personnel Manual for the City of Beech Grove be amended. Therefore be it further ordained that this general ordinance only applies to Article 1 of the City of Beech Grove's Indiana Personnel Manual. Therefore be it further ordained that this general ordinance goes into effect immediately upon approval by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Questions or comments on General Ordinance number 7?
I'd like to have a discussion on the drug test and so forth on the applicant. Do we have anything in the current manual that if a employee, while they're on the clock driving a vehicle, a company vehicle, if they have an accident, that they would be required to have a drug test?
No,
I
that's,
know a lot of companies are going with that.
that's coming in another ordinance.
With the insurance? Okay.
Okay. No comments. Ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 7, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. This will carry over to the May meeting. General Ordinance number 8, 2013 is up for second reading this evening, and I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read by title only.
I make motion to waive the rules, read by title only.
Second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. I'll have the clerk read the ordinance by title only.
Okay, General Ordinance number 8, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 37, Section 37.04 of the Code of Ordinances and Article 7 of the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual pursuant to recognized holidays for employees of the City of Beech Grove.
All right. Questions or comments? Ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 8, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
No.
This 4 to 1. This will move on to third reading at the May meeting. That concludes unfinished business, and we will move to new business, including the introduction of ordinances and resolutions. For the council's information, they have a appointment to the Beech Grove Fire Department Merit Board. Don Smith, his term ends in May. He would like to continue to serve. However, I'm bringing it to the council so that they can make recommendations. So I'd like to bring this, I want to let you know about it, but I want to bring it back to the May meeting so you guys can have input on who you'd like to see serve on that board. And Mr. Thompson, it's a worthy board as well. Move on to new business, interlocal agreement between the City of Lawrence and the City of Beech Grove. Andy, did you want to comment on this briefly?
Yeah, I can if you'd like to.
Sure.
I guess before I say anything about the interlocal, I want to thank you guys for being receptive to these agreements as they've come forward and working with the other cities and putting these together. Secondly, in the past, I've been asked occasionally from counselors and while I've given presentations about the creating of ordinances and what's good, bad, or otherwise. And while that's entirely up to you, I would suggest that using simple language is always a good alternative for when it comes in front of our court. Then it's easy to apply. Okay, and with the parking ordinance that was just passed, the one before was extremely outdated and terrible to, I just had a whole handful of those cases last week and had to throw them all out. Not only was the city not represented, but there was large concerns about it, and I know that's why you're trying to address them here, but now you've created an ordinance that again is not enforceable because the weight limits were just made up and don't correspond with the BMV's weight limits, so there's no way to determine what's what. So I just feel like I should tell you that, because if your goal really is to clear up the streets, you've not done anything to accomplish that. So when it comes to interlocal here, this is another agreement similar to the ones that we have in place now with Southport and Speedway. Lawrence, same situation. The only key difference is Lawrence, and Anthony helped with this, putting this interlocal together with Jeff Coates, who's the counselor in Lawrence. But the only difference that Lawrence had was they obviously write a lot more tickets because they are a bigger city. They're between 45,000, 50,000 people. They wanted to reserve the right, I guess for lack of a better term, to have court in Lawrence on occasion, depending on the needs of, on docket sizes and officer needs and things like that. So if you've read through it, you'll see that there's language in there that it's not defined definitively, because they want to take a wait and see, so does the court, take a wait and see approach to that. And so the language kind of just leaves it up to, if it's decided that it's the best use of resources to do that on occasion, that leaves it up to the court to make that decision. Other than that, the language is pretty similar. I know their attorney contacted me to ask me some questions about how we do some scheduling and things like that. So I'm sure there's some differences from the other two agreements that were put together from a different law firm, but the essence, from what I understand, is the same. Mechanically, how it'll work in the court is the same, save for that the potential for a night in or day in Lawrence if needed. So, any questions? I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah.
How was your current city clerk or your current court office?
The court, she's doing fine. The new, like as I've said before, the new computer system has streamlined a lot of our efforts, and all these new parties in the court have the corresponding computer system for law enforcement officers. So Beech Grove, Southport, Speedway's updating all theirs, and Lawrence already on. It's called the e-ticketing system, and we have what's called the Odyssey system, and e-tickets file into Odyssey, and it makes things so much easier for her to handle. So yeah, she's gotten really good at running reports on Odyssey. I'll tell you that much. But it's not. I think I said last month we'd have to get to, I think, probably over about 2,000 a month caseload wise before we would need to address manpower. And right now we're at 300, 250 to 300 a month.
And I expect with Speedway's not all the way on yet because they're upgrading their computer systems. And so with Lawrence and Speedway, I wouldn't expect us to get over 1,000. So I think that's what you're getting at. So. Anything else?
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you.
To resolution number 5, 2013. I'll have the clerk read it in its entirety, please.
A resolution adopting, approving, and authorizing an interlocal agreement between the City of Lawrence and the City of Beech Grove, authorizing the City of Lawrence to educate infractions and ordinance violations in the Beech Grove City Court. The Common Council hereby adopts as a resolution and approves and authorizes the following interlocal agreement with the City of Beech Grove and Lawrence for ordinance and infractions enforcement. An interlocal agreement between the City of Lawrence, Indiana and the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, whereas both units of government maintain police departments to enforce the duly enacted ordinances to benefit the citizens of the jurisdictions, and whereas the City of Beech Grove maintains a city court that has limited jurisdiction pursuant to Indiana Code 33-35-3 over crimes, infractions, and ordinance violations. And whereas Beech Grove and the City of Lawrence are located in the same judicial circuit, and whereas both units of government have an effective history and cooperative efforts that benefit the citizens of the respective jurisdictions, and whereas Indiana Code 36-1-2 allows for political subdivisions to jointly exercise powers granted to each of them, and whereas Lawrence has requested permission to utilize the city court for prosecution of its ordinance violations and infractions in order to increase the revenue derived from issuance or ordinance violations tickets, and whereas the agreement for prosecution services entered into March 29, 2011 by and between the City of Lawrence, Indiana and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, wherein prosecutional services for violations for the municipal code of the City of Lawrence as well as state law infractions issued by the Lawrence Police Department are provided by the Marion County Prosecutor's Office and handled by the jurisdiction of Marion Superior Court 13 is a non-exclusive agreement. Now therefore the City of Lawrence and the City of Beech Grove, acting by and through their respective common councils, jointly agree to the following. 1. Lawrence may file its ordinance violation infractions in the city court for education. These violations may include but not be limited to traffic and other violations of Lawrence ordinances. These shall be filed through the e-ticket system already being utilized by the Lawrence Police Department or other such system as may be acceptable to both parties. The city court shall be the legal entity administering this joint undertaking. 2. Lawrence shall be responsible for the prosecution of all Lawrence cases through the appearance of the ticketing officer on court days, the initial drafting of any deferral program, and the filing of any pretrial motion, such as a motion to continue for scheduling purposes on the city's behalf. Lawrence shall hold the city court and the City of Beech Grove harmless for claims or malicious prosecution filed due to Lawrence's use of the city court. No separate budget shall be required in Lawrence for this joint undertaking. 3. Beech Grove and or city court shall be responsible for the docketing and financial aspect of this agreement, including but not limited to the collection of all court costs and fines assessed and the proper and timely distribution of monies collected. The prosecution of all denied tickets on court hearing days in cooperation with the Lawrence police officers who issued the tickets. The distribution of costs shall be allocated pursuant to Indiana State statute through the Indiana State Board of Accounts protocols, with the Lawrence Police Department being the recipient of the police training fund allocations. Number 4, Lawrence shall receive 100% of all fines assessed and collected, i.e. the face value of the ordinance citation. All other fees shall be collected and distributed pursuant to current Indiana Code guidelines. The clerk treasurer of the City of Beech Grove shall receive, disperse, and account for all monies of the joint undertaking. Number 5, Lawrence shall initiate a deferral program with the city court. The terms of the program shall be similar to the terms in place for the Beech Grove deferral program. It is the intention of the parties that the programs in place will be identical as to the application and administration of the program by the city court staff in order to simplify administration of both programs. In all cases, Indiana code shall dictate how the fees collected through deferral are distributed. 6, each party shall execute any and all documents and allocate the personnel necessary to carry out the terms of this agreement as required under IC 36-1-7-3. A5 Lawrence and Beech Grove shall continue to cooperate to approve plans and procedures for implementation of the use of the city court for Lawrence and ordinance violations, including a good faith effort to establish a physical location within Lawrence City Court to hold special sessions when hearing cases involve citizens of Lawrence. In the event there is a dispute concerning any plans or procedures under this agreement, the dispute shall be discussed by a dispute resolution committee consisting of one member of each city's common council and the mayor of both cities. Number 7, in the event there is an additional dispute concerning this agreement that cannot be resolved by the dispute resolution committee within a reasonable amount of time, the parties agree to submit the issues to mediation, each party to pay 1/2 the cost assessed by the mediator, pursuant to the Indiana rules of alternative dispute resolution prior to initiating litigation. Number 8, the agreement is perpetual in duration. However, either party to this interlocal agreement may terminate the agreement upon 60 days written notice to the other party. The termination shall be served upon the mayor of the other participating city and shall be sent by certified U.S. mail. 9, before this interlocal agreement takes effect, it must be recorded with the Marion County Recorder's Office pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7-6. Additionally, not later than 60 days after it takes effect. This interlocal agreement must be filed with the State Board of Accounts.
Questions or comments from council members?
I do have a question, sir. On number 8, it said the agreement is perpetual in duration, and then it says either party to this interlocal agreement may terminate the agreement. So what is the definition of perpetual? Please.
It's ongoing unless any party follows the guideline regarding 30 days or 60 days notice. So it just continues until Lawrence and or Beech Grove notifies the other, hey, we want out.
Okay, thank you.
Andy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Number 9, it says that this is going to be filed with the State Board of Accounts and it must be recorded at the Recorder's Office. Is that you guys doing it? The Lawrence, myself?
I would assume, I've not read the statute that was referenced there, but I would assume that would need to be the city of Beech Grove and or the city of Lawrence would need to do that.
Okay.
I'm not sure both would, but
Okay.
since we're the second party, they've already passed it, I don't want to assume, but I would assume they would expect us to just send it in there. And I think that's all you have to do, is just send it in.
Right. Okay. And also, there's one typo on the first page where the A was left off Indiana.
I would clean that up. All right, council members have questions or comments? Ask for
Thanks,
motion
Andy.
to approve resolution number 5, 2013.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General ordinance number 9, 2013 is an ordinance that Councilor Jennings requested to be put on the agenda. So we'll introduce it on first reading this evening. And I'll ask that the clerk read the ordinance in its entirety, please.
General Ordinance Number 9, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Article 13 of the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual pursuant to drug testing for employees. Whereas all persons employed by the City of Beech Grove are considered professional employees who provide dedicated service to the citizens of Beech Grove, and whereas employees must be held to a higher standard and are often seen in the public light, and whereas random drug testing is very prevalent in the workforce and presents a positive image for everyone, and whereas some employees are currently not subject to random drug testing. Therefore, be it ordained that the Common Council desires to amend the Article 13 of the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual to address random drug testing of all employees hired by the City of Beech Grove. Therefore, be it further ordained that the Common Council desires the following amendment be included in Article 13 of the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual and be carried out as such. Article 13, Safety. Add Section 6, Random Drug Testing. All persons employed by the City of Beech Grove shall be subject to an unannounced random drug test. Each department head shall be instructed to carry out the random drug test in their respective department, which shall include themselves. Tests shall be conducted by a medical clinic approved by the City of Beech Grove. The costs associated with the random drug testing shall be paid for by the City of Beech Grove. The city shall not bear any other cost. Employees directed to be tested shall be driven to the testing site unless the medical clinic conducts the testing on site. Failure to have a drug test conducted within 2 hours of notification shall constitute failure unless otherwise authorized by the department head. Employees directed to be tested shall not be allowed to drink any liquids until the test has been conducted. Tests that result in a positive response shall preclude the employee from returning to work. Such employees shall be placed on administrative leave until further consultation has concluded. Test results shall be given to the respective department head of whom the employee is assigned to. If an employee declines to be tested, the finding shall be a positive test. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires that random drug testing measures take place. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance only applies to the above listed amendment. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect 30 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Floor is open for comments or questions.
Yeah, I would like to amend this to delete employees directed to be tested shall not be allowed to drink any liquids until the test has been conducted. I mean, I'm in the military, I'm subject to random drug tests. I can't go on the spot. So I would hope that they would be drinking fluids on the way over there. Less time off the clock, get it over with, be done with it. So that's my amendment.
There's an amendment on there. Need a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 9, 2013 is up for approval on first reading. Need a motion to approve with the amendment.
I'll make said motion.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. This will carry over to the May meeting for second reading only. General Ordinance Number 10, 2013 is up for first reading. This time I'll defer to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety.
General Ordinance Number 10, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 90, Section 90.27 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Whereas fees for dogs have not been raised in 40 years, and whereas the city currently charges $2 per license for each dog and issues each dog a tag, and whereas the city is losing money based on tags and time spent per each license, and Now therefore be it ordained that the common council of the city of Beech Grove desires to amend chapter 90 of the code of ordinance to institute new license fees for dogs. Now therefore be it further ordained that the common council desires to amend chapter 90 of the code of ordinances as prescribed below. Delete section 90.27, fees in its entirety. Replace with the following: 90.27 license fees. Upon an applicant applying for a license, such applicant shall abide by the regulations set forth by the Board of Public Works and Safety. A license fee shall be administered as follows. A, for each dog, $10. B, for each dog who has a dog park pass, $0. C, for each dog grooming establishment, $0. D, for each kennel, $100. For each pet shop, $100. F, for each obedience school, $0. G, humane society or animal rescue, $0. H, veterinary hospital, clinic, or emergency room, $0. I, animal control facility, $0. Section 90.27, proof of vaccinations. A record of vaccination shall be presented or be on file prior to the issuance of a license for each dog. Section 90.30 as follows. Line 2, remove the word cat. Line 8, remove the word cat. Therefore, be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove desires that the Code of Ordinances be amended as such. Therefore, be it further ordained that this ordinance only applies to the above-mentioned sections. Therefore, be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect 30 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Floor is open for comments or questions.
I would just like to comment, I think this is a little one-sided towards dogs. There's no cats, and they took out wild animals too, which is weird. I don't even know where to begin with this. I would say that it needs to be.
Are we losing money when we issue a tag?
Without question, we're losing money.
I'm definitely not, in favor of us losing money, but to single out for each dog, I agree with, using the dog park, and that they should be, vaccinated if they want to use the dog park, being with other dogs. But to have a dog inside your house, I don't see where the government should interfere with what's in your house.
The only thing I'll say about that, we probably only give out about 50 dog licenses a year.
I think the big problem is nobody even knows.
Right, exactly. And I agree with you. The tags, the last time I looked, was $1.97 just for the tag, and we got to buy a minimum of 200 to get them for that price. And so if you only give them 50 out, they're dated 2013. You can see right there, that's over and above your cost, not counting what it's costing for labor and everything else. I mean, something needs to be done, whether you just do away with it altogether, or you go to a higher fee.
In my opinion, I think the whole chapter 96, or 90, 90 needs to be looked at, and since we're losing money, it needs to be looked at very rapidly. So, but I think this ordinance has a lot of work to do. It's just my opinion, I guess.
Well, and if I can make a comment, I don't think anybody's going to stop at everybody's door and knock on the door and demand to see if their dog has a license, especially when they're little pets inside the house. I think dogs are much more in majority running around, barking, getting in trash rather than dogs, my personal opinion. It makes me mad when I see other people's cats pooping around my house, but that doesn't happen as much as dogs barking constantly in the middle of the night. So I just think this is just going just because of the ratio. I don't think it's being discriminatory towards the dogs. I think it's just kind of common sense.
If on grooming establishments, $0, and on pet shops, $100. On Emerson, you got a pet store, but they also do grooming there. On street, you go to a grocery store, but they also sell pet supplies.
Good point.
Excuse me. I don't want to disagree with you, Mary, but over where we live, there are so many cats that run crazy over there. We just narrowed one down to where it lived the other day that we've seen for the last month out in the street. So I think it's probably just about equal.
Okay, and I respect that, you know, the different areas of the city.
I don't have either one, so I'm not for or against it.
Right. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Kathy.
Yes,
I
Al?
want to add one, for a dog, I own dogs, but I can see where if stay in the house, like mine, no big deal, but they do, by chance, I know a few times neighbors and so forth, their dog has gotten out. And I think that helps if it is registered, because if the police pick it up or whatever, they'll know who the owner is, rather than going to the pound. It's probably a responsibility of the pet owner to protect their dog. You know, so I think it's well worth the $10. But you know, on the other hand, on cats, I have no clue.
We had a dog and we took it to the vet and they always gave it dog tags. I guess I'll be honest, I never, and we kept it in the yard and every kid liked it, but why do we register them for? I mean, why do we do that? Is there a reason if they get out, somebody can?
Well, I think part of the reason is because of the dog park itself. You've got to have your dog registered, be a member of the dog park to take them down there. I think make sure they're vaccinated. If the police pick an animal up and it's got a tag on it, they can call City Hall and say, hey, who's this tag belong to, and whoever it is, and we can help from that information. But what do you got, 4,500 homes in Beech Grove, and the majority of them have a pet, and we've got 50 dog tags. So, I mean, it's pretty minimal, but at the same time, it's...
Well, the charge for the kennel and the pet shop, what was the charge before? Is that changed or?
It's on the ordinance back there.
I tried to.
G. The last page.
So that was
So that
already
doesn't change.
established, that it was
You know,
$100?
there's a kennel and pet shop
Uh-huh.
covering all animals kept during the year, $100.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
I would make a motion that I would make a motion that we table this at least until we can look over this a little bit more, as well as possibly, and I don't know, Chief might know, if we could get Mr. Durbin's opinion on this as well, if that would be possible.
Motion to table. Dave?
Who's Mr. Durbin?
He's
our
the
animal
animal control officer for Beech Grove.
I think we should table it too.
And I don't have a date, whenever Mr. Durbin is available.
I agree.
Dave? Councilor Harrison?
Yeah, I'd go along with that.
Ed?
I will too.
We'll table it until further notice. That includes new business, including introduction of ordinances and resolutions, miscellaneous business, including any matters not already considered. There's none. Council comments. Dave?
No comment tonight.
Dave Harrison?
I have none.
Anthony?
I have a couple things to say. I'm going to be introducing an ordinance soon, I hope, that will change who sets the agenda. I have had several problems in the past getting things on the agenda just because the mayor refuses to sign them. And I believe in order to create an equal government, you have a checks and balance for a reason. In order to override that veto, we have that power as a council. We need that ability. I'm going to propose that Dan, our clerk treasurer, sets the agenda. He's already supposed to set the Board of Sanitation, Board of Works, and number the ordinance, our ordinances. And I think that will allow for a separation of the branches a little bit better. I've so far failed to get that on the agenda, and hopefully will soon. I also, Judge Wells mentioned something in his comments that struck me as odd, and that they didn't have any prosecuting attorney, I assume, at the last court hearing. And Judge, you might want to correct me if I'm wrong, but did you have to dismiss all those cases?
Yes, they were dismissed.
So that
Were they dismissed or continued?
They were dismissed.
So that cost the city quite a bit of money, I imagine.
I couldn't give you a breakdown. They had to be dismissed. There were, I mean, if it's appropriate for me to address this now, but there were no, the city attorney had contacted me directly via phone to try to continue in the afternoon before the trial dates, which isn't appropriate. It needs to be a written motion, like all parties are supposed to do. And then when the parties appeared in court, no one else had been notified, which again is also inappropriate because I can't it's not appropriate for me to take an action without the other parties being duly notified, and that didn't occur. And it's like that in every court. That's not a special rule for me. That's every court's like that, and those rules weren't followed, and so I didn't have a choice. I'm not going to keep dragging people back. Half the cases were on the parking ordinance that you guys changed tonight, so I'm not sure why those needed to be prosecuted anyway when others were dismissed and others were turned to warnings, but these were continuous trials. There's some constitutional issues there on someone's rights, so there are numerous issues at play.
I think this sets a bad example. We just had an interlocal tonight with Lawrence, and I would hate for that to happen again, because I assume Southport had no representation there as well.
None of the plaintiffs were represented. The defendants were all there.
Did the chief ask you to dismiss the parking tickets?
No one asked me to dismiss anything except for there was a request to continue the cases. And anyway, when the city is represented by a city attorney, a motion or to continue or a motion to dismiss or any action needs to come from the attorney because that's who's filed an appearance on behalf of the party. It's not appropriate for the court to discuss the matter with the party if there's an attorney in place. And then if the attorney wants to take an action, the attorney needs to follow the court's rules like the other parties have to. If I require an individual to file a motion in a written motion, the city's got to do the same thing. There can't be special rules for the city.
How much money did the city lose?
I don't have a breakdown on the city, and I don't know if the city was going to win on the cases or lose on the cases.
How many cases got dismissed?
How many cases got dismissed? There were 14. One of them was 12. 2 were default judgments, and one was dismissed on other grounds.
Do people not get hurt?
Do what?
Do people not get hurt? Do people have injuries? Do people sometimes not be able to function?
Excuse me, I think I have the floor.
What you're asking me.
I think it shows a lack of leadership on the city by not getting prepared. If somebody has an injury, that's one thing. But to not have...
It's not funny, Kathy.
Excuse me, I think I have the floor.
She asked me a question.
Again, I have the floor.
Go ahead.
So if somebody gets injured, that's one thing. But to not be prepared for something as crucial as something like this, or as we obviously needed some legal guidance tonight, especially as our parking enforcement ordinance came through tonight, we had a clear guidance from the person that enforces it, but yet we ignored that. So tonight I think we failed as a council. I think it's ridiculous that we have a chief, we have an entire police department that we can go to as a reference, and yet we ignore it. It's absurd. I am absolutely at a loss for words right now. That's all I have.
Ed?
Well, it would have been nice to have the judge come up during the time we were discussing that one ordinance that you were talking about. So now we have to go back and rewrite it again. But anyway, that's all the comments I have.
Aaron?
I will have to agree with Ed, and I will never be too proud to say that I have not made a mistake, but it would have been very helpful if we would have had Judge Wells' knowledge about the number of cases that you couldn't even try, or whatever you call it. What's the word, Andy?
Well, I couldn't hear him because there wasn't, the city wasn't represented, so there was just an issue with representation. And then the other issue was the other parties weren't notified of any attempt to, the rule says, the court rule says I'm not supposed to accept, that the court's not going to accept a verbal motion. So we have blank motions on the website so people can fill up and out if they want to continue.
Oh, but I'm not.
And then they have to send it to the other party, right? So that the other party knows that that's pending. And none of that happened, so that's why those
Right.
were dismissed.
Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't referring to that in particular. No, that's okay. I was referring to the part that you can't even make a formal motion if it's not even.
What I was referring to is when the city brings a case, the city attorney appears on behalf of the city.
Okay.
All right. So any correspondence or action goes through the city attorney. So it's not appropriate for myself as the judicial official to communicate with the city without the city attorney knowing about it, because he's the representative. Just like it's not appropriate for me to talk to Mary Stewart. She's represented by an attorney in my court. I need to go to the attorney. If I have a question, so do the other parties. Their attorneys need to talk to each other and not around to the parties. And so that's what I was referring to there.
But I'm sorry, I must not be making myself clear, and I apologize. I'm talking about the parking thing.
Oh.
If you can't enforce that, is the words I'm using. I'm sorry. If you can't enforce that, then it is a waste of our time, your time, the police department's time. If we can't enforce it, then, as I said, I'm not too proud to say then, if that's the case, and I do wish that we would have had those facts beforehand, I think that would have helped us understand more the reasoning behind that.
Well, I'll say I didn't have the facts beforehand. You guys passed it, and I looked it up on my phone after you did it and saw that the B&B has it all lined out, and that number isn't one. So, I guess to illustrate it comes before my court. The city has to prove that it weighs X amount. Well, if the B&B licenses X amounts, and they don't have that license, then it's easy to say, hey, it weighs this much, right? And if you create a number, there's no way to definitively prove it's X or Y unless it's way over into that next category and have that license.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand. And I appreciate that. I would never, ever act like that you had the information and then you were withholding it by any manner of means. But I think that would have been a little bit better. So, I would move that we personally strike that amendment or ordinance that we passed, because it's redundant. It's not going to serve any purpose. So, and I would just like to thank everybody for coming still. And I think that our meetings need to be held a little bit more professionally. I do not think there ought to be That's all I have to say.
All right.
Thank you.
I worked for the city for 30 years. before I worked for the city, the mayor set the agenda. It's been in the ordinance for over 40 years. It will continue to be the president until I'm no longer mayor. And I will not do that to the next mayor, because the next mayor needs to be able to control the agenda as well. Anthony, we talked about this the other day. I've been very patient with you. You have introduced some ordinances that were out of this world. Golf carts twice, chickens, goldfish, fishing in the creek. What ordinance have you introduced that I have not put on the agenda? Tell me.
You have the floor, Mayor.
Tell me.
You have,
Tell me.
you have them.
No, I don't.
I've got copies of the emails, and so does RTV6.
You submitted that ordinance that takes the executive officer's ability to set the agenda, to give it to the clerk. That will not be put on this agenda as long as I am the mayor.
And see, what you're doing right now is you're blocking a system of checks and balances. We have the power to override that, and yet you won't allow that.
No. I will do the same as every mayor before me.
I'm done.
So that will not be heard. Clerk is clear on my position. So is the department head. So we'll move from there. Ask for motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:35. We meet again on May the 6th, 2013 at 7 p.m.